Boys, I'm back. 2025, bigger and better than ever. I absolutely am frothing for the rugby league to start. I have never in the history of me being alive been more amped for rugby league season to start. I cannot wait, boys, and I'm pretty sure you guys are feeling the same way too. I absolutely cannot wait, man. I think it's going to be the best season we've ever had. And yeah, it's wide open. I can't wait, man. I can't wait, boys. Oh, man. All right, let's get into it. All right, in this video, guys, I'm going to be going over each team and where I think they'll finish in a bracket. I will be doing a full top 17 ladder prediction video, but if you've been following me for a minute now, you know I like to see a few trial games before I drop that one. However, what I've done is I've put together, as you can see here, every single team. I've started at the top, gone all the way to the bottom, where I think they'll finish, gains, losses, and also possible top 17s as well. And we'll just go through those, answer some questions, talk about it, guys. So, as always, let's do it, man. Oh, man, I cannot wait. I've missed sitting in front of this computer just talking absolute rubbish about rugby league. It's just going to be the best. I'll tell you why I'm actually fiending for the rugby league more than anything, boys. Usually I'm pretty good at NBA, and I'm not a very good NFL punter, not because I don't do it much, but just because I don't do it much, and I'm not like super into I love the game, but I don't like know the game inside out, back to front, like I do rugby league. But man, I've been getting some hidings on the punt. So absolutely cannot wait to win some money this year as well, guys. So I'm hanging, man. Bring it on. All right. So I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on all this as well. Like I said, if you've been following me a minute, you know I love interacting with you guys on YouTube. That's one of the things I've missed most about this off-season. So let me know your thoughts on my picks here. Let me know where you think teams might finish, all that sort of stuff, your favourites to win the comp, any questions you might have, any video ideas, all that sort of stuff. And yeah, like I said, let's get this thing popping, man. I really cannot wait. All right, let's just start, man. Penrith. Look, if they win this thing, if they do 5 in this current climate, with all the players they've lost, with no home ground, lost half of their lost half of the best halves combination in the comp, lost half of the best front row rotation in the comp, with no home ground, I think this cements them in not just NRL, but just Australian sporting history as the greatest team ever assembled, the greatest organisation. It would just be absolutely epic. So, yeah, guys, it's pretty impressive what they've done. You guys know I've harped on it about it a bit. A lot of people think I'm a Penrith fan because I talk about it, but I just love talking about champions. I do it in every sport. You'll hear me Glaze and John Jones, all that sort of stuff. I just love champions. All right, guys. So, gains, Papali'i, Blaze Talangi. Losses, Jerome Luai, Fisher Harris, Tiny May, who they already had lost, but Sonny Taruva, Tyrone Peachy, Isaac Longy, and Jet Cleary. Only real notable ones there would be Luai, Fisher Harris, and Tiny May. But they have a pretty good replacement there for Tiny, so I think they'll be just fine as far as that goes. They have the 10th hardest schedule, so right in the middle there. Not hard, not easy. And I'm going to be going through strength of schedules here, guys. I'd like to look at them because, it gives us a pretty good idea of, how your team's season looks for the year. Are you playing Penrith and Melbourne twice? That's usually the first thing you check if you're not Penrith or Melbourne. All that sort of stuff. So, I do take it with a grain of salt, though, because I have seen, over the last couple of years, I've seen teams with hard schedules, and you sit there and go, man, they've got to play Parramatta and the Bunnies twice, and then Parramatta and the Bunnies end up sucking that year. It's 4 easy games, so it doesn't always pan out the way, but it does give us a bit of an idea. Like I said, you do not want to play Penrith and Melbourne twice in a year if you don't have to. If you can play them once each, there you go. You're in a lot better. All right, so a few questions here, guys. Obviously, as you can see here, I have them between first minor premiership and 4th. I do think they can win the minor prem. It just hinges on a few things and how they adapt. So I've obviously just written down a few questions that I've sort of been seeing popping up on my socials, and we'll go through it. So, will they struggle to go forward without Fish? They don't use their forwards to go forward. Where I think it will possibly affect them is their defense. They use their forwards more as defensive shields, and they take meters off you rather than give you meters. They get a lot of their meters from the outside backs and Isaiah Yo as well. So I think they'll be fine as far as go for, but I think they may leak more meters than they normally would there. Will they struggle without Jerome's running game? How are they going to cover Jerome Luai? That's going to be it's looking like Blaze Talangi will play the 6, but again, we won't know until trials. He looks like a 6 to me. I think he would fit in that position fine, just because it's such a simple position to play if you are big, strong, talented, and can defend. Like a Dylan Brown would just slot into that team, run when there's space, tackle your ass off, and you're probably going to, do really good things there. I think Blaze can do that same thing, but we're going to have to wait and see. I wasn't quite frothing Blaze like everyone else was when at Parramatta. He looked great, don't get me wrong, and for his age he looked very good, but I'm not sitting here going, wow, he's just going to slot in there and replace Jerome Luai perfectly fine. Obviously no home stadium, I've already touched on. They're going to be playing their home games at Parramatta's home ground, so that could play a massive part. That's a goddamn fortress they got there. So we'll have to wait and see how that all sort of pans out. But it's definitely harder. They're very hard. You go out to Penrith, it's all Penrith fans. Not many fans travel to that stadium. There's only 19,000 there, I believe. I might be wrong. Might be a little higher, a little lower. But it's all Panthers fans. You do not have a fan in the crowd there. So it's going to be tough. I'd see a lot more other fans going to those games, but yeah, it's just another hurdle and just another story, another thing they're going to have to overcome. Now, a big thing for me of Penrith finishing in this top 4 or being a genuine threat again, he has to play 22 games, more than 20. I think he can. We'll just have to wait and see. Someone was calling him sort of injury prone. I don't think he is injury prone. Like the year before when he missed 7 games, that was a suspension. So he did that same hammy a few times, but trying to fix it on the go in the middle of a season, I don't know. The shoulder as well. We'll have to wait and see. It could have just been a bad string of injuries. I wouldn't call it him being injury prone yet. But this season, really, if we have sort of 3 seasons in a row where he's off the field more than he's on, or at least off for, a 2-month period like he sort of has been a couple of times, then we started sitting there going, oh, maybe he is a little injury prone. So, yeah, it's just with how much they've lost, Cleary staying healthy is absolutely huge. How will Blaze fit in? I've already sort of mentioned that. And where does Papali'i play? Now, when they first bought him, I had a bit of a different theory on where they will play him. Penrith Panthers' front row has never been big. I don't know if many people know this, but Fisher Harris was almost a small-bodied lock when he came into that Penrith Panthers system. One off-season, he hit the gym, got a little thicker, and next minute, he's the best front rower in the comp. Papali'i has a very... They lost Fisher Harris and have not replaced him. I have a feeling, and if anyone has been at Panthers training, let me know. I might be talking absolute rubbish here, that he might thicken up and just play in the middle as a front rower. And it would make sense. He could certainly play there. He's played a bit of lock as well. He's a bigger body. And like I said, the way Penrith play, he's not going to have to take in hectic carries off the back fence. It's just hit the deck and get to it and play the ball quickly. He can actually hit. He's a pretty nice player. But we'll have to wait and see. But I have a feeling they're going to play him in the middle. But again, I might be talking absolute rubbish there. I just really love Sorensen on that edge. So we're going to have to wait and see there, guys. But I'm really excited to see how it all plans out. So predicted team, guys, we do have Edwards, Casey McLean to replace Taruva there, Isaac Tonga, Paul Alamotti, Brian To'o, Blaze Talangi in at the 6. So we're going to have to see if that happens. Nathan Cleary, Moses Leota, Mitch Kenny, Lindsay Smith, and they've got Papali'i on the edge, Liam Martin, Isaiah Yo. That is still a top 4 team. I don't care what anyone says. Could they slip out of the top 4? Of course. They nearly did last year. Two rounds to go, they'll come on 5th. And then they've got Dane Laurie, Sorensen, Liam Henry, and Garner on the bench. Now, the way they've lined this up, it does look pretty skinny in the middle. I would love them to have another big body somewhere. I bet they wish they still had Spence. I bet I actually thought they were going to go into the open market and pick up May, but I think if Tiny May was still there, I think he would have gone there. But yeah, that's didn't pan out. Roosters did a very good job of making sure he didn't go to a good club. Good on you, Roosters. But yeah, look, guys, they're. I wouldn't call them the team to beat because they have lost a lot, and there's teams close that haven't lost to an added. But you know they're the pinnacle. They're the best. And if you're writing them off to win the comp, you're just an idiot. You're just an idiot. I understand if you go, I think Melbourne are going to win this year, but if you're sitting there going Penrith can't, you're an idiot. You're just an idiot. So absolutely pumped to see how they go. I love watching champions be champions, and just quietly, Nathan Cleary could just seriously cement himself as the GOAT this year. I'll do a full video on that in a minute soon, but yeah, he's got a GOAT status awaiting if he does do something special this year. If he does have one of those Darren Lockyer years where he does a Premiership, a World Cup, Four Nations, and a State of Origin series, pretty damn special. But anyway, moving on. Now, guys, also, this is a thing you'll notice too. The brackets aren't all four. Some brackets are smaller than others, and some are larger than others, just because I think some teams could literally finish second or second last. But as you come just down here, you'll see, I don't see how possibly the Melbourne Storm finish below second. They're the most consistent team over the past 20 years? Yeah, something like that. They've lost, I was about to say something mean, rotational players. It's probably a nicer way to put it. And they've gained Moses Leo, who is rugby 7. I think he's a good rugby 7s player. And Stefano Ekamanu, who I don't rate quite as high as everyone does, but he is a pretty good forward. And they've been pretty good at developing forwards. I don't know if you guys have noticed that, but Melbourne Storm are pretty handy at developing forwards there, guys. So, 6 of the year schedule. Now, will the Penrith Panthers curse strike the Melbourne Storm? I'm going to say no, but can you imagine if it did? Can you imagine if we're at round 8 or 9 and Melbourne Storm have lost 4 or 5 games, 6 games? Can you actually imagine? That would be absolutely nuts. So no big losses, guys. They've added to their pack. They've got the best spine, and they are covered in every single position. If someone goes down, someone can come in, and it'd be perfectly fine. Like, they're very handy. They are literally covered 1 through 13. They should finish first or second, and they are the favourites to win the comp, and they should be favourites to win the comp. So, yeah, I really don't see how they don't finish first or second. They're so consistent. The difference between their best and their worst game is pretty close. Little patchy last year, but it just, you're playing 24 games, man. You're going to have a game where you're not quite on the ball, and they ended up winning the minor premiership by quite some time. So let's come down. So predicted team list: Ryan Pappenhausen, William Warbrick, Jack Howarth, Nick Meaney, Xavier Coates, awesome back 5. Munster Hughes, Stefano Ikamanu, Harry Grant, Josh King, Blore, Elliot Katoa, and Trent Liero, who I was big on last year. He was absolutely incredible. Best thing as well, I dare say Tyron Wishart's the best 14 in the game right now. Correct me if I'm wrong, boys, but I don't think there's a better 14 in the comp. I think he would... Yeah, I think he laps everyone quite comfortably, but yeah, he's absolutely incredible. Welsh, Tui Kamakamitha, and Nelson Ofa-Solomona. There is not a flaw in this team. This team is as perfect as you can get. It really is. This is as close to a perfect team as you can get. Workhorses, you've got the spines flawless. Your bench has just got size and versatility. You got line runners, you got ball runners, you got offloading, you got everything. You got size in your back line, speed in your back line. This is very close to the perfect team, guys. I would be shocked if they don't finish first or second, and absolutely shocked if they don't make the grand final. But the Penrith curse, the Penrith curse. We don't know, guys. So we'll have to wait and see. But I'm backing them in to go first or second. On to the Sharkies. Can they break through, guys? Can they break through that ceiling? They've been there or thereabouts for the past few years. Can they make themselves a genuine contender? They've been comfortably top 4 for quite some time now. But to me, never once have I thought, Sharkies might win the comp this year. Not once have I thought that. So, gains, AFP and Peru. I don't know who that is. If someone does, let me know. Losses, Finucane, Hunt and Williams. Actually, some pretty solid losses there. Royce Hunt had been offering a lot off the bench. Jack Williams is low-key really good as well, but you would trade both those guys for AFB in a heartbeat. And Dale Finucane wasn't playing a ton of footy last year. I can't remember what he was like the year before. But, definitely an upgrade there. 12th easiest schedule. Now, will AFB make a huge difference? I did a video on TikTok not long ago where I sort of mentioned I don't think he will. I've been the biggest AFB fan since the Manly days. I was sitting there and when people were glazing guys like Payne Haas and all this, and I'm saying, have you watched AFB play, bro? That right step? Right foot, I think it's his right foot, is a fullback would be jealous. And he's looks like the biggest, scariest bouncer you've ever seen. It's absolutely ridiculous. Only issue I have is he's adding to something that was already so good. I can't remember once where I sat there and went, geez, Sharky's forward pack just wasn't good enough tonight. He's a try-scoring, big minute front rower. They already sort of had that. AFB is better than this guy, but Tom Hazelton, I think they both scored 8 tries last year, both good near the line, both can break a line, all that sort of stuff. So will he add? Does a team with AFB in it is better than a team without it? For sure, but will it elevate them to that next level? That's the big thing. I don't think so. I just don't. I still think they're a good enough team to finish in the top 8 and possibly 3rd to 7th. If they get lucky, maybe be 2nd, but I'd say 3rd to 7th. They have the 12th hardest schedule. I've written 12th easiest schedule there, but 12th hardest schedule. They have had the easiest schedule by an absolute mile for quite some time now. So a little bit of a harder schedule as well. We'll see. We'll see. Will Nico perform / stay healthy? That's huge. And Nico to fullback was another question. Look, I'm not mad at that at all. Keeps him out of the front line. I wouldn't call him a defensive liability, but I think in big games he would be. Could be. We've seen him at Origin. We've seen him for Australia. Missing some pretty important tackles and stuff like that. However, I'm not one of these people that bags him for it. It's just facts. He missed them. So, to mix it up, do you run Atkinson and Trindle in the 7? Nico at fullback. Nico can just sniff around AFB off those offloads. That might be the key to their success. They just have this team is very, very good. I love this team 1 through 17. I said if you've been watching me last year, I said so many times I think this is the most balanced 1 to 17 I have ever seen. Not ever seen. One of the best balanced 17 teams I've seen in a long while, and it's all there. It's all there, guys. But is it enough? Do they have to just tinker? Do they have to try Nico at fullback? I think they should give it a crack. I think they should give it a crack for 6-7 rounds, see how it goes. If it doesn't work, that way Nico can just insert himself when he needs to, you know. And I'm a huge Will Kennedy fan too, but, you know, we'll have to wait and see, guys. So they got Liam Eisen here, apparently a bit of a weapon. Don't know anything about him. Ronaldo Mulatalo, Jesse Ramian, Oro, Katoa, Hines, Trindle, AFB, Brayley, Oregon Kafusi, Britton Nakora, Teague Wilton. I rate that Teague Wilton too. Him and Jack Williams, super underrated. Daniel Atkinson off the bench, Tom Hazelton, Tommy Rudolph, and Siffer. It's such a good team. It's such a good team, 1 through 17. So I've got them the 3rd through 7th. I personally see them doing exactly the same thing they did last year. Happy to be proven wrong, but I've got a little message for you Sharky fans out there. Go to the games. You embarrassed rugby league in those finals games. You embarrassed rugby league. Seriously, guys, that was absolutely pathetic. 19,000 people to a game. a semi-final. Boys, go to the games. You going to Vegas? I honestly, man, I was so off the Sharkies, man. So off them. Like, that's so embarrassing. Like, rugby league had one of its best years ever. Like, I went through all the stats. I looked at all the KO numbers. It was off the charts how much rugby league grew. And the one thing that AFL had on us that they just laughed at was, number one, there was 2,000 spare tickets at the grand final, but that happens, was the overall poor attendance for the finals. It wasn't. There was 2 games that had poor attendance, and it was both Sharks games. So, Sharkies fans, pull your fingers out. You got a really good rugby league team. Go to the games, please. Please. Snag's begging you. And I'm off you till then. I'm off the Sharkies. I'm death riding the Sharkies until fans start going to the games. I was a Sharkies fan. Not anymore. I'm off yous. No, I'm not off the team. I'm off the fans. Pull your heads in. On to the Roosters. For the first time in maybe 5 years, I reckon they do not have a championship, I'm in NBA mode, premiership roster. That could help. No expectations of a premiership. They could just roll out and roll through them. Look at this. Suoli'i, Manu, Kiri, JWH, Satili, Jennings, Tyrrell May, Lewis Murphy, and Napa Gaines. The Chad. I'm a big Chad guy. That is I don't think I've ever seen that before. I mean, that team would just go. The rugby league nines are on the weekend. That team probably win. That is elite. That is absolutely elite. Look, this is, like I said, I've got them 7th to 12th. I think they can scrape in. I think they're going to just miss out, though. I feel like they're putting all their eggs in 2026's basket, and they're going to have a big push then. I think we'll see some big signings through the year, some transfers, whatever it may be. And I think they're going to make a big push for 2026. I feel like this is a write-off year for them. 9th easiest schedule, so right in the middle there, guys. Can they cover all their losses? No, they can't. There's too many. There is absolutely too many. Will they thrive with no expectations? I just mentioned that. We'll have to wait and see. I think they could. I really do. I think they could. Are they writing off 2025? In my opinion, yes. And when will Cheese and Walker be back? I think they're both due mid-year, around 10-ish. So how are they going to cover those guys in the meantime? I'm not too sure. But if you do come down and actually look at their team list, it's still pretty good. These guys are going to win plenty of games this year. Tedesco, Tupou. Billy Smith, super underrated player, great player. Toa, is that how you say his name? Young, Sandon Smith, Chad Townsend, Spencer Linu, Connor Watson, Lindsay Collins, Angus Crichton, Nat Butcher, Victor Radley, Wong, Butcher, White. I'm going to call him Mark. I did actually watch a video on how you say his name, and I said it all right, but I've completely forgotten how to do it, so I won't disrespect you, brother. I'm going to nail your name by the end of the year, all right? I just need to hear it a few times. But look, I'm not holding expectations too high for them. However, I do think they can perform, guys. But yeah, like I said, I think this is a rebuild year. I think they're going to see how some of these guys shine, see where they need to improve, and really go all in 26, 27. And I think we're going to see some big moves. I think they're going to be in the headlines a lot this year, the Roosters. On to the Cowboys, off to a terrible start already. Lukey out with an ACL, bringing in Bateman here. So Gaines, Bateman, Lawton, O'Donnell, and Jackson Paulo. Losses, Val Holmes, Felt, Chad Townsend, Fini Fuiaki, how do you say his name? Jack Gruowski, and Jermaine Tonya Brown. Is that how you say his name? I'm sure I don't even know who that is. But anyway, 5th easiest schedule. Can they cover their losses? I don't think so. Can they cover Lukey? They were hitting him a lot. They were going to him more than they were going to Nanai last year, and that really says something. Will they be able to go for it? I don't think so. If we come down to their team list, and this is where I'm really worried about the Cowboys in 2025, the team is still stacked, but the middles I'm not fond of. McLean, good, solid, but you're not going to get a whole heap out of him. Colin Hest comes back. How's he going to be? We're not too sure. Great player, but we're not too sure how he's going to look after that surgery, guys. Bateman, I've never been a huge fan of him since he's come back anyway. And the big issue I have with the Cowboys is if they do get off to a poor start, which is pretty possible. They have 5, 6 State of Origin players. So, I mean, I don't think this will happen, but there is a chance Drinkwater gets called in as an 18th man or something. They also have Tuolangi, Dearden, Hess possibly. He seriously could. If they're thin on middles, he possibly could as well. Nanai, Ruben Cotter, and who's the number 9? Reece Robson. They're going to lose a lot around that time as well. If they get off to a poor start, State of Origin time is going to be tough for them. I've got them 9th to 12th, guys. That's where I think they're going to finish. I just feel like they're just going to miss out. Every single year, 2 to 3 teams miss out. It just happens. It's very easy to fall out. I think it might be the Cowboys this year. I hope it's not, because I really love watching them play. Drinkwater is one of my favourite players to watch. Big fan of the Cowboys, but yeah, I just have a feeling it's going to be them. I just feel like even if they're 50-50, 4 wins, 4 losses, or 4 wins, 5 losses coming into Origin, I think they're done. But we're going to have to wait and see, guys. But Cowboys, yeah, I have a feeling they're going to be one of the casualties for the year before. But yeah, they got a 5th easiest schedule will help, so they definitely can creep in. I would not be even the slightest bit shocked if the Cowboys make the 8. I just have a feeling they're going to just slip out. So we're going to have to wait and see, guys. But they're one of the teams I've got out of the 8 at this point. On to the Doggies. Doggies. Was last year a fluke, guys? Was it a flash in the pan? Was it a Warriors type year for the Doggies? They've added Satili, Montoya, Amon, and Tuala. Losses. Famalisi? Katonga? Papali'i? Palutu? Hayes Perham? Skelton? And that dude's not a grader. I love their additions. I'm not fond of their losses. I would have preferred to keep Skelton than Montoya. But I understand it. Adokar had to go, obviously, as well. Look, 11th easiest schedule. How will Satili be used? This is the one that I'm really interested in, right? So, with Kurt Mann there, right? So, if you go, Bulldogs fans, a lot of them disagreed with me, but if just hear me out here, and if you're not, I'm sure you'll agree with me. Reid Marnie sucked in that final 20 minutes of that finals game, and if you actually watched a lot of their games, a lot of them were close. Reid Marnie was terrible in the last 20 minutes. It is so hard as a number 9 to play 80 minutes in the middle, especially when you make as many tackles as him, especially when you're the size of him. You're tackling guys like Paseka and Payne Haas all game. I don't blame him for this at all. I'd rip on Reid Marnie because it's funny, but genuinely, it would be so hard. You can't do it. I like the idea of giving him a rest, and you have Kurt Mann there as well. I would love to see Satili at some point play lock, and because I actually like Kurt Mann at lock as well because he's really good link. He's got real nice ball playing. I'd love to see Kurt Mann at lock for a period and Kurt Mann at dummy half for a period, and Satili comes on and off or whatever in the middle. He's big, he's athletic, he's strong. Bulldogs pack, it was quite funny. I heard a lot of people, people say it's a small pack, and I said that as well. And people were like, oh, Hughes is huge, but Josh King's bigger than you think. Look, it's not so much also the size. Like, Hughes is a big bloke, but he's not, he doesn't have that explosive athleticism that, like, a Satili has. You know, he's just a big, burly bloke. The difference between, you know, like, if you look at it like Payne Haas and Blake Laurie are roughly the same size. One's athletic and one's not. Who gets put on their back more? Blake Laurie's a damn turtle out there. He's on his back all the time. He's a flip turtle. Whereas Payne Haas barely gets put down at all because he's explosive and powerful. So I think Satili's going to add that. I think that that's what they needed. It wasn't just so much size. It was more power. You know, you get what I mean? So everyone was sort of, including myself, saying they need size. They don't so much need size, they need power. They had a lot. They actually were very good. I have to give them credit, but they had a lot of sets where they would make 29 meters. a lot of sets. I think they ended up having, it didn't, in the overall stats for the year, it didn't read that way because they shifted a lot and they'd sort of steal 30 metres sometimes going to kick out, going to critter or going to Adokar, going around teams, and all of a sudden they get a 70 metre set as well. So they would sort of go 29 metre set, 29 metre set, 79 metre set, and then it sort of averages out and looks like they're getting 40 metres a set, which they weren't a lot of the time. So they needed that power, but I also like Kurt Mann link in too. So yeah, I think that would be the best thing for them to do. He's got great footwork. I don't know what his hands are like. I don't know if he can link like Kurt Mann, but I'd love to see him in the middle there. I'd love to see Reed Marnie get a rest. As far as the spine goes, I didn't really... Your spine's so important. It is weak, man. Doggies fans probably don't want to admit it, but it is a weak spine. You've got Reed Marnie, you've got Sexton, you've got Burton, and you've got... what's his name again? Who I'm a big fan of, Connor Tracy. Okay, so Reed Marnie tackles his ring off, work rate, and fires lasers off the ground. They're his benefits. He has no running game. He has no deception out of dummy half. He doesn't create around the ruck at all, which is the main things for the dummy half for me. Who's the best at those three things? Harry Grant. Like that's what his bread and butter. He's deceptive around the ruck. He splits markers. His running game's great. Like Reed Marnie's best assets as hooker aren't the things that you sort of need out of your hooker most of the time. That's just my opinion. I can't remember a game like, damn, Reed Marnie's running game's really, really hurting him. And that's when he was at Parramatta as well. I don't remember going, man, Reed Marnie's just terrorising the markers. It just doesn't happen. So... And then you've got Sexton, definitely a bottom tier, number 7. Then you've got Burton, who is incredible. And then you've got Connor Tracy, who's okay. So you're sort of going, to me, mid 9, well below average 7, very well above average number 6, and then an average number 1. It's a pretty weak spine. I think they might struggle there a bit. Again, we're just going to have to wait and see. But I'm just really excited to see how they go. Now, was it a fluke? No, it wasn't. And the reason why it wasn't is they were so damn consistent. And that's why I have them finishing 6th to 10th. I think they're going to finish roughly in the same spot as they did last year, because there was no fluky games. They had 2 games that they probably should have lost, which sort of bad decisions. But they didn't have many bad games at all. It was just good. And they also didn't have many incredible games. They had the one against the Broncos, maybe another one in there somewhere I've forgotten. But it wasn't like they were blowing teams away and just like shocking teams. It was just good, solid performances every single week. And that's why it wasn't a fluke, and that's why I think they can finish roughly in the same position as last year. So got big expectations for them. Will they have enough go forward? I don't think so, but we'll have to wait and see. And for me, Bulldogs, look, I said this to a mate and he took it, who's a Bulldogs fan, and he took it as like I was hating. But Bulldogs, I said got lucky last year, and I don't mean it like they got lucky, like they weren't a good team and they fluked their way to 6. I just mean nothing went wrong. And that's what I mean. Like, they never had a spine member, a top level player out for extended periods of time. The injuries to their key players were for a week or 2, absolutely maximum. They were pretty lucky there. Josh King goes down. It looks like he's going to be out for a month. He's back in 2 weeks. Crichton hurt his hand at Origin. He's back a week later. All that sort of stuff. They were pretty. There was no speed bumps there at all compared to a lot of the other teams. I mean, you look at Melbourne. They had Munster out for 8 or 9 games. What would have happened if that happened to the Bulldogs without him kicking them out of trouble, without him kicking 40-metre field goals to win them games, without, after that 29-metre set, him booting the ball and the other teams catching it on the 1-metre line. I think they'll be in big trouble if he goes down. So Matt Burton's health is massive here. He has to be healthy. He really does. So he hasn't had any big injuries, but he does play pretty hard. And look, those hamstrings, every time he puts those bombs up, be under some stress. So touching wood that he stays healthy in 2026, 5, especially if you are a Bulldogs fan. On to Manly, guys. I have them finishing 2nd to 12th. And with every single prediction with Manly every year, there's a big old asterisk on it with Turbo, if Turbo's fit. All right, so they have Takeaho, Jazz Tavanga, Shop, Palotu, and Cheekham coming. I didn't know Cheekham was coming. Losses Schuster, Parker, Aaron Woods, Paulo, Lawton, and Humphreys. Second easiest schedule. Turbo's health, massive issue here. Coaching, I'm not sold on Seabolt. I think he did a passable job. I personally, like, if you guys watched my videos last year, you know I had Manly in the top 4. I think that's where they should have finished if Turbo played the amount of games he did. So, just a pass mark for me. You played finals, you've passed, but yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But no notable additions. I see them roughly finishing the same as last year, but I could also see a disaster where Turbo goes down. We saw the Pride thing where they didn't look like winning a game after that, even though they had a top 8 roster. I could see them unravelling and falling down really, really fast. I could also see them finishing second. So that's where I've got the Manly Sea Eagles, guys. Let's go through their team list. Jake Trbojevic, Saab, Tolu, Kohler, Garrick on the wing. I like that. I'd love to see Kohler fit and healthy again, and maybe even playing a little bit of fullback as well. I think if Manly get a big lead, like let's say you're playing the Knights or someone and you're up 28-0, like, do you put him in the centres just to shield him a little bit? Less running? Put Kohler at fullback? Get Kohler some more experience at fullback so he can cover if Turbo is injured? I don't mind that idea at all. Forward pack's still great, guys. Halves, obviously, Luke Brooks, Cherry Evans. Forward pack, Paseka, Croker, Aloye, Olakawatu, Ben Trbojevic, Jake Trbojevic, Tavanga, Simply, Brown, Takeaho. That is a really good team. They're going to be very, very tough. I think they're going to beat some really good teams. I think they're going to lose to some bad teams too. I just have that feeling. I sort of feel like they were the Parramatta of a few years ago. When they sort of finished 5th or something, 6th, wherever they finished. 7th, whatever. But they probably should have finished higher. You know, they lost some games to some dud teams they shouldn't have lost. So that's where I've got the Manly Sea Eagles, guys. We'll have to wait and see how it plays out. On to the Knights. I don't know about the Knights, man. They're there or thereabouts. I've got them 7th to spoon. I just have a feeling that's just one of those teams that aren't going to perform this year. A lot of it hinges on Ponga and his health. They have the 3rd easiest schedule. Gaines, Schiller, Arthur, Tyrone Thompson, and Taj Anand. Losses, Saifidi, Tuala, Armstrong, Jed Cartwright, Jennings, and Miles Martin. Like I said, I don't really have any theories on why they're not going to be good. I just have a feeling they're not going to be that good. However, I also have absolutely no doubt that they could do what they've done in the last 2 years and start hitting a bit of form and scrape into the 8. I really do see it. So, no notable additions. I agree. And also, coach, I'm not a huge fan of this coach at all. He was just going through half pairings like it was no one's business last year. It was absolutely ridiculous. I don't know what he was thinking half the time. I'm not sold on him as a coach at all. I think Ponga saved his job a couple years ago and just was going skits. I don't think, like, I've never sat there and gone, what a great coaching display once with the Knights. So I'm putting Kalen Ponga in at number 6, almost ending the career of one of the best players in the game. It was just the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Like, the dumbest thing I've ever seen a coach do. Like, you nearly ended the most highest paid, one of the most exciting, explosive players we've seen for some stupid thing. Like, it's just ridiculous. So I'm not sold on the Knights, guys. However, like I said, I've got them 7th to spoon. I don't know where they're going to finish. I don't see them finishing 6th or higher. I could see them scraping at the 8. I could also see it just being an absolute disaster season for them. So that's why I've done this massive bracket for them. We're going to have to wait and see how it pans out. On to the Raiders. They say goodbye to a couple of legends, Rapana and Whitehead. Can they get themselves back into the top 8? Gains, Nicholson, Sanders, Tamal, Martin, Isaac Thompson. Losses, Kotrick, Rapana, Whitehead, Zach Wolford, Schiller, Holler, Peru, and Taravallen. They've got the easiest schedule in the comp. No notable signings that can help them now. They've got a couple of guys that are going to be good in a few years. No one that's going to help them right now. How they're going to cover Rapana. For me, a huge one for here is Fogarty's health. They were incredible last year. Fogarty was probably the most improved player last year. He went down. Like that. Correct me if I'm wrong, they were in the top 4 there for the first 7 or 8 rounds with Fogarty in the team. I might be exaggerating that a little bit, but they were very good. Like I was sitting there going, and Fogarty's long kicking game was. I was sitting there going, is Nathan Cleary wearing a green jersey? Like his long kicking game was, it was absolutely perfect. So their season really depends on him and who partners him in the halves. So that's going to be absolutely huge. So in here they have Ethan Strange, who I like. I like having the big kick and then the run in number 6. That's, I think, the best formula for a winning rugby league team. So I do like it. Weeks at fullback, I love that. Bit of speed. Albert Hopewadi, Sebastian Chris, Tomoko, Savage. This is looking like a pretty damn good rugby league team. Papali'i, Starling, Tarpany, Hudson Young, Matty Nicholson. Is that his name? Matty Nicholson? Corey Horsburgh at lock. Morgan Smithies on the bench. Corey Horsburgh had lost a lot of weight over the pre-season. I actually thought he was a cancer patient for a minute when I saw a photo of him. So that tells me he probably is trying to play that lock position, because you've got to play a lot more minutes, and you obviously you have to be big, thick front, thick rower style player, but you're not taking those back fence carries that the front rowers take, so you can be a little lighter. So that tells me that's how they might roll out. I have them. Oh, I've got 9th here. That's meant to be an 8. But yeah, I've got them 8th to 12th. I think they can just scrape in. But I'd say more than likely, sorry Raiders fans, you just miss out again. But Raiders are really good at just, no one's talking about, I haven't heard a peep from the Raiders in the media about the Raiders this year. So Ricky Stewart's good at getting the boys up, saying everyone's counting us out, no one's talking about us, everyone's talking about Brisbane and the Bulldogs. Let's go show them who's boss. So big hopes for the Raiders this year. Good luck to them in Las Vegas. I'm praying they get the Viking clap happening. Apparently they're looking 35,000 tickets already sold for Vegas. I think last year they said 8 or 9,000. Apparently they're expecting over 50,000 person Viking clap for the Raiders game. Hell yeah. I hope they bring the big horn too. That'll be absolutely incredible. Up the milk. Onto the fins. Fins up, baby. Wayne Bennett. Is the curse real? Are they going to drop? I've got a friend who's just signed with the Dolphins. Sorry, I'm a friend. I know someone that's just signed with the Dolphins. And they're very confident they're going to do well this year. Everyone is. But they reckon... what's the name of their coach again? The bloody new coach? Matt Wolf? Wolf? Apparently he's good. And he was seeing what he's done with Tonga. I'm not writing them off, man. I've got them 8th to 11th. I think they can finish in here. I think they're going to be a pretty consistent team. I think they're going to be there or thereabouts. Daniel Saifidi, Gaines, Fiangi, Fini Fuiaki, and Tupu. Losses, Jesse Bromwich, Aiken, Edric Lee, Milford, Tessie New. Oh, Tessie New's gone. TPJ, Big Val, and Lachlan Hubner. So some pretty good gains there, guys. Now let's look at their predicted 17. They've got Hammer at the back. They've got Bostock, who I think is going to be better, especially if he's gotten a little thooker. Avarillo, Herbie Farmworth, Jermaine Asako, Cody Nikarima, Isaiah Katoa. I like Nikarima there at 6. I think he was their best option there. Daniel Saifidi, Jeremy Marshall-Kin, Felice Kafusi, Gilbert, hopefully he's back, Fini Fuyaki and Max Plath. It's a great team. People are saying Dolphins are going to win the spoon. They've had horrible, and I repeat, horrible run with injuries, and they've been thereabouts for the finals. They were in the top 4 both years for quite some time. Like, it's not they flashed in for a minute. They were in the top 4 both years for a while. They're going to be good, man. They're going to be really, really good. So I have them sneaking into the 8 or just missing out. I think they're going to finish roughly around there. But I'm super excited to see how they go. We just really got to see how this Wayne Bennett thing pays out. And we're really going to get to see... I think they could go better. I really do. With Wolf having his full reign on it all, we've seen what he's done at Super League. We've seen what he's done with Tonga. I think this dude can coach. So I've got high expectations for the Dolphins this year. I'm not writing them off for a minute. I think they can do really good. Schedule 13th easiest, so relatively easy. Relatively hard schedule. I know it says easiest there. First is the easiest, and 17th is the hardest. So relatively hard schedule, but yeah, we'll have to see how it all plans out. But I'm hopeful that the Dolphins do well. I really am. On to Dad's Army, the St. George Illawarra Dragons. Gains: Clint Gutherson, Damien Cook, Val Holmes, Lockie Ilias. Losses: Ben Hunt, Zach Lomax, Jack Bird, Fiangai, Dan Russell, and no one else. 14th easiest schedule. Very hard schedule. One of the hardest. This is the thing. How are these pieces going to fit? How's he going to make it work? This is just my personal thing of how I think they'll sort of go this year. And I've got them 8th to 11th. No, I don't. Sorry, guys. I've actually messed this up. I've got them... Oh, sorry, guys. I forgot to bloody change the Dolphins one. My bad, guys. I have them in the bottom bracket. I have them about 14th to 17th. I think they're going to win some games we thought they would lose, but I just see them losing a lot of games. I just do. They're favourites for the spoon. I don't think they're going to win the spoon. Like, everyone was like, oh, they're always favourites to win the spoon. They never are. Ha ha ha. I'm with you. Like, last year when I was like, there is no way they're winning the spoon. They were the favourites to win the spoon by an absolute mile. I don't think they will win the spoon, but they can win the spoon. Trust me. They could get absolutely smoked this year. I just don't think, you know what I mean? Does that make sense? I don't think they will, but they absolutely can. Like, they can win the spoon. There is absolutely no doubt in my mind that they could win the spoon. I just have them in around that bottom area. Just my pick for the spoon is one of those teams where, one of these bottom teams that are in that bottom bracket there, where and who gets injuries. So I don't see an out and out they're going to win the spoon this year. I don't see it. I think every team has the team to at least compete to make the top 8. It's probably the evenest outside of the top 2 teams. It's probably the evenest playing field I've seen. Like, if you look through everyone's 1 through 17s, they're all very good teams. There's no team where you go, Jesus, wow, what are they? Go back to the cup. Go back to cup, lads. You guys should get relegated. Clint Gutherson, they got at fullback here. Sloan, Moses Sully, Val Holmes, Tuilopu, is that how you say his name? Flanagan, Ilias, DeBellin at prop, Damien Cook. He was great last year. Everyone was ripping. I thought he was great at the Bunnies. Francis Molo, Leilua, Sua, Fatala Mariner in at lock. Like I said, guys, I got him in that bottom bracket, but I think they're going to surprise us from time to time. Then I think there'll be games where it's like, oh, they've just knocked off this decent team. Now they've got a pretty easy team. I think lose. That's what I just feel like the Dragons are going to do this year. So we're going to see, but I'm just really interested to see what Flanagan brews up here. But they've just lost so many points, like 30 try assists. They've lost their goal kicker. They get a good goal kicker back, but yeah, I'm not sold on them doing well. They were a little bit like that last year. They overachieved. Thought they did. They were favourites for the spoon. But there were still games where you're like, man, they should win this game, and they'll really put them in the top 8 or whatever, and then they just didn't. So, I have them missing out, guys. I really do, on the top 8. And I think they're going to, if they get injuries, I think that would definitely be in the hunt for the wooden spoon. On to the Brisbane Broncos, the mighty Brisbane Broncos. Can Ben Hunt redeem himself? Gains: Ben Hunt, Perriman, Jack Grafsky. I couldn't say his name earlier. I still can't say it now. Losses: Oates, Pereira, Tristan, Saylor. 16th easiest schedule. New coach. Can Adam Reynolds stay healthy? What are they going to be like without Ezra Mann there for the first half of the year? Where is Ben Hunt going to play? Payne Haas has just gone down with an injury. Will he be okay? A lot of questions. I think Madge was the answer. I think he's going to do really good things there. Pull the boys' heads in a little bit. No one's above doing anything To me, their season depends on two people. Adam Reynolds being healthy and Payne Haas being healthy. I think without those two blokes, they'll still win games. But if Adam Reynolds isn't there, I mean, you have cover with Ben Hunt, but then you've got like one of those other guys like Moser or who's inexperienced, or Billy Walters or one of these other guys who I'm not fond of playing your number 9. All of a sudden your spine's tremendously weaker. Ben Hunt at 9, Ezra Mann at 6, Adam Reynolds at 7, and Reece Walsh at fullback. That is a deadly, and I repeat, a deadly spine. With Payne Haas's health, for obvious reasons, he's an awesome player. It also brings out the best in Pat Carrigan. He takes the carry after Payne Haas a lot with Payne Haas, and it's always good with a very fast play of the ball. And then Reece Walsh plays off the back of that like an absolute freak. I have them 3rd to 7th. I think they can finish 3rd to 7th. They're third favourites to win the comp. I just don't think they'll be taking anything for granted this year. I really do think they can win a lot of games. 16th easiest schedule, very hard schedule, but I think they can really get it done. Like I said, a few of those hard games probably won't be hard games because of teams that were in the top 8 last year that that make it a hard schedule won't be as good. But let's have a look. So Reece Walsh, Jesse Arthur, Selwyn Cobbo, Katoni Staggs, Dean Mariner, Ben Hunt, Adam Reynolds, Corey Jensen, Blake Moser at 9. We'll have to wait and see how that all plays out. So unfortunately for the Broncos, their best team isn't going to be on the park till about round 10. So we're going to have to wait and see. Pikura, Jordan Recchi, Patrick Carrigan. I want to see a lot out of Pikura this year. I want to see a lot out of Xavier Wilson too. He looks like a bit of a hybrid between Tino and Payne. I want to see him get some game time, but I'm expecting big things for the Broncos. I hope they do well. I'm one of those. They're one of those teams where I think the comp's better when they're doing well. I really do. So hopefully they do well. Fill up Suncorp Stadium plenty and do some awesome things this year. I'm right on your Broncos fans. I mean, look, they averaged 43,000 people at their games when they absolutely sucked last year. I'll get behind any team whose fans show up every week. Shout out to the Broncos fans. On to the Wars. Up the Wars. Can they bounce back after a stinker of a season and repay those fans who all showed up? First team in history to sell out every single home game. Not only that, just about every team in the comp had their their highest regular season attendance when they played the Warriors, because Warriors fans from all over Australia showed up to those games. Shout out to Warriors fans. You are the real ones. Gains, Fisher Harris, Aaron Clark, Tanner Boyd. Losses, Sean Johnson, AFB, Tohu Harris, Montoya and Tavanga. 4th easiest schedule. I'm really interested to see how Webster looks this year. Webster and Serraldo both out of the Penrith system. Webster won round 1, Serraldo won round 2. Let's see who wins round 3. Really interested to see how he I think he made a few errors last year, sticking with guys in positions that he shouldn't have, just a little too long. And then when they did make those changes, it was clearly better. But he probably waited a game or two too long. You can miss out on the 8 with just a couple of bad games. So, we'll have to wait and see how he plans out, how they're going to handle the losses. Fish and Barnett, I think they could be the best front row rotation we've seen best forward rotation in the comp if they both play to their absolute potentials. This could be scary. They're going to lead from the front. If I'm whoever's going to play lock or whoever's going to take the carry after those two blokes just took a carry, the way they carry the ball and the way they defend and all that, I'm running hard. They both lead by example, guys. I'm super excited to see how they all plan out. I've got them 7th to 11th. I think they can scrape into the 8. Hopefully they do, because similar to the Broncos and the Bulldogs, all this, I love teams that their fans get behind them. They got behind them. I'd love to see them do well. Up the Wars. Team list, CNK, DWZ, RTS, Leolatu, is that how you say it? Kossi, Metcalf, Boyd, Barnett, Tanner Boyd at 7. You're not making the 8 with Boyd there. I'm sorry, Warriors fans. He's one of those guys who's too good for, in my opinion, too good for New South Wales or Queensland Cup. Not quite good enough for the NRL as a genuine number 7. Just my opinion on him. Mitch Barnett, Wade Egan, James Fisher-Harris, Niokora. They need Niokora to play a full season and not to do stupid penalties. Kurt Capewell, Tohu Harris is now gone, so this slide's obviously a little old. I think Chanel's going to play that lock position. I was watching a Warriors podcast not long ago, and they were saying he can defend, man. He can hit. He slaps in defence. Aaron Clark could also fill that position. Jackson Ford, not a huge fan. He was awful last year. I reckon he was the worst second row in the comp last year. Seriously, I reckon he was. He was awful. Dylan Walker there, always solid. I'm really, like I said, praying the Wars are good this year. Come on, guys, bring it home. It's a better comp when the Wars are doing well. On to the Gold Coast Titans. Can Desi sort out this mess they got going on there? Call it a mess. I don't know why. I just see it as a mess. It's not like they're doing anything overtly wrong. I just don't understand what they're trying to do. And I've got here question marks over spine. I don't get it. They've got one of the hardest schedules. I don't see them finishing above 14th. I have them in the bottom bracket there, guys. In fact, they are, at the moment, my favourite to win the spoon. Again, if health pending. Forward pack, brilliant. Everything else, I'm just not fond of. I mean, it's all here. There is so many good players in this team. Team. That's the main word. I don't understand what they're doing as a team. There's talks of Kieran Foran playing 14, Jaden Campbell and what's his bloody name? AJ Brimson playing. I don't get what's going on. If you're a Titans fan, please enlighten me. But I look through this team. It's a great team, but the spine. I don't know, man. I don't like their bench. I'm not feeling the Titans, unfortunately. Happy to be proven wrong. Just not feeling them. I'm just being honest, guys. RCG, great. I mean, look at this forward pack. You got RCG, Verrills, Fodawaker, Fafita, Beau Formore, Tino Fasula, Malawi. It's a pack. Dave Fafita looking like he's going to miss the first month. If they get off to a bad start and start chopping and changing like they did last year, I could just see it unravelling really fast. I know they did put a little, maybe 2-month period together where they looked all right last year. I'm not sold on Desi as a modern-day coach. Obviously, he can coach. He's better than half the coach, but I just don't understand what he's doing. Just when he talks, too, I just don't understand. He almost seems confused by really simple questions. It's just weird. So I don't know, man. I'm not feeling the Titans at all. Unfortunately, I think it might be a rough old year for the Titans. But again, happy to be proven wrong. On to the Parramatta Eels. New coach, new roster, no expectations. That's their motto for this year. I love the players they brought on. We've got Adokar, Lomax, Hawkins, Longy, Papali'i, Jack Williams, and Tuanga. Probably get better saying these Islanders' names, man. I got to get better. Losses: RCG, Clint Gutherson, Mika Sivo, Blaze Talangi, Matt Arthur, RC Sini, Morgan Harper, Lorenzo Mulatalo, Ethan Sanders. RCG's a big loss. Clint Gutherson's a big loss. Blaze Talangi's a big loss. Everyone else I'm not too worried about. I'm really excited to see what Zach Lomax and Mitchell Moses look together, how they look together. 7th easiest schedule, new coach. How is a new coach going to get all these gains humming? I have them 10th to 13th, guys. I think they're going to win some. I think they're going to beat Penrith this year, man. And I think they're going to lose to the Titans and the Tigers the next 2 games. I think it's going to be, unfortunately for Parramatta fans, I feel like it's going to be another one of those years where we sit there and sort of go, we get excited. Like if you're a Parramatta fan, you sit there and go, man, we just beat Penrith and then the Sharks. Now we've got a bye. And then after the bye, we've got St George, Newcastle, and the Tigers. Oh, we could go. And then they lose those 3 games. That's what I feel like. That's what I'm feeling with the Parramatta Eels. Now, predicted team list: Longy, Adokar, Penasini, Lomax, Bailey Simonson, Dylan Brown, Mitch Moses. I actually like this. Offran Gary to start, Brendan Hands to start, Junior Paulo, Sean Lane, Ryan Madison, Hopgood. Bench: Joey Lussick, Jack Williams, Wirramu. It's a pretty damn good team. Like when you put, it's just how's it gonna gel? If the coach can bring some of that Melbourne, to sprinkle it on, they can make the 8. They can scrape in there. What Parramatta's problem's been, even the year they made the grand final and got humped, but look, they were the second best team in the comp. The difference between their best and their worst game was just so far apart, man. They've got to improve that. I'm hoping so. They've got a good fan base. The fans show out. I would love to see the Bulldogs and Parramatta both be good in the same year, and love to see that rivalry reignited. I really would. So, hoping they do. I tell you what would be cool if they both go good this year, and then they both get picked for Vegas next year, and they play in Vegas. Doggies fans, Parramatta fans, cutting sick in Vegas. Bring it on. That would be elite. But yeah, not holding expectations too high for the Parramatta Eels this year, guys. On to the Bunnies, guys. Can Wayne bounce them back? Can he bring back that glory to South Sydney? Gaines, Aiken, Dodd, Schuster, Sullivan, Habana, and Humphreys. Habana. Losses: Cook, Burgess, Ilias, Gagai, Milne, Cheekham, Dean Hawkins, Isaac Thompson. Jesus. Pretty solid losses in there. Like not like elite. Well, Damien Cook's pretty elite, but not like crazy. But like I don't know if you notice on the other losses charts, there's usually 2 or 3, and then like a couple of guys you never heard of. I know every single one of those players very well. So that's some pretty solid losses there. They have the hardest schedule. The Wayne Bennett effect, will he help them out? I have them 13th to 9th. I think they're going to just miss out. I think that tough schedule is going to hurt them. I don't know how their halves are going to look. Cody Walker is old as AF. Old AF. Will he just fall off a cliff? Probably not, but he could. Will Trell Mitt be fit and motivated? I don't know. I've just got a lot of question marks. I just have them just missing the 8 guys. I really do. You look at the team: Trell Mitt, Tyron Munro, what a weapon. Jack Whiten, Graham, that's going to be huge for them. Campbell Graham was sure himself just before he got injured as the best number 7, I was about to say, best centre in the game. He really was. He was getting to Critter level. I know Critter fans and Bulldogs fans were like, what are you doing, man? He was the best defensive number. And then he all of a sudden started dropping hat tricks on us. You know, what the hell's going on here? You were walking into any NRL team on your defence alone, and now you're dropping 3 pieces on us. He's incredible, man. I really rate him really highly. Cody Walker and Lewis Dodd. That's a big question mark for me. Totola's going to be a big help. He's one of the most underrated props in the comp. He's very, very good. Mamazoulis, again, spine looking dicey. You got 2 good players. You got Latrell Mitchell, Gunn, Cody Walker. Little question mark on how he'll be this year. He is quite old. Then Lewis Dodd. And then we've got Mamazoulis, who looked mid to me coming in. I'm sure he room to improve. He could come out and we're sitting here going, how great was he? But to me, he looked mid. Totola, Mole, Aiken, Jairo, Kulamatagi in the middle. I was about to say, where's Cam Murray? Cam Murray's going to be out for quite a while. He's the key to their success. I just don't see him winning many games without him. And then with all the gelling, we're going to have to wait and see. But I've got them 9th to 13th, guys. 9th to 13th. On to the mighty Tigers. Can they avoid history? Get the hell off the bottom of the ladder? That's the question, guys. That is the question. Their team is good enough to do it. Gaines, Luai, May, Hunt, Bird, Taruva, Skelton. That's some gains right there. That is like steroid gains. That is like when you jump on that first cycle of testosterone and Deca and you slap a little D-bowl in there and you are just getting gains quick. That's solid. Losses: Stefano Ikamanu, Bateman, Papali'i, Caesar, Sullivan, Tupou, Junior Tupou, Miller, Kapoa, Alamalo. 8th easiest schedule. This is the question I have for them. How are they going to respond if they lose a few games early? They come out, let's say they lose their first game and they win their second game, and then they go loss. They're 1-5. All the pressure comes on. That's the question mark I have, and that's what I think will sink them if that happens early. I don't think they come back from it. How will they look with Luai and the team? Can their forward pack win the middle? Yes, I think it can. I think their forward pack has to win the middle for Luai to be any sort of danger. I really do. Let's have a look at their 1 through 17 because it's pretty damn good. We've got Buller, we've got Taruva, we've got Dewey in the centres, we've got Olam, we've got Skelton. Nothing wrong with that. We have Lockie Galvin, Jerome Luai. Nothing wrong with that. We have a Royce Hunt, Api Coruscant, Tyrrell May. We've got Bateman here, but they've put Seyfarth. I actually like Seyfarth. He needs to take a chill pill, but he's nice. Fanu and Fanua Pole, rate pole high, real high. He's got a high pole, that guy. De Silva, the eyebrows. Damn, they've got some eyebrows on the bench, don't they? De Silva and Twal, Clemmer and Bird. Bird's got some solid eyebrows as well. Wow. I still have them 7th to 14th, just because I'm not. Again, just that I think they're going to be a good team, and I absolutely think they could be in that pack fighting for the hunt, like I mentioned earlier in this video. I think every single team has the team to actually push for that spot, but obviously not everyone can finish in there, can they? Teams have to drop down, usually through injury. I love this team 1 through 17. I don't know what it looks like the rest of the 13 to fill out the top 30. If they get a few injuries, if they lose 3 games in a row, every team at the start of the year every single team right now thinks they're going to finish in the 8. Just quietly. They all do. Like literally, doggies are sitting there going, I reckon we finish in the top 4. You got this expert, you're like, bro, the boys are going skits, we've done this army camp, but everyone's doing that stuff. How do you respond when you're 7 games in and you're 2 from 2 and 6 and you go, oh, we suck again, and then your head goes down and then you're an easy beat? That's where I'm a little worried for the Tigers. I really am. I think they finish 14th to 17th, but like I said, I'd love to see them go a little higher and shake things up a little bit. It'd be really cool to see, but I have to put teams in this bottom bracket, and that's where I think they're going to finish, unfortunately. And that's it, lads. We're done. That video was a lot longer than I thought it was going to be, and I do apologise, guys, but it is good to be back. As always, guys, make sure you're subbed, make sure you're liking, make sure you're commenting, all that stuff. I love to see it. It keeps me going. And look, man, just bring on this season, guys. Bring on this season. I'd love to see also who you have winning the minor premiership. Anything I've said, I'd love to see the comments. Like, just let me know. You mentioned you thought the Tigers were going to finish here. I reckon they'll finish here because of X, Y, and Z. I love hearing your guys chat. And sometimes you guys say things that I never thought of. So I actually love it, and I bring it to the videos as well. So thank you so much for all your input, guys. And as always, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.